Hey y'all, it's Ashley Bookishrealm and I'm back with another video. As you can see from the title of this video, this is an interesting one. I'm here to talk about authors I used to enjoy and now I don't. So I always feel like you have to do like a PSA at the beginning of these videos because people feel personally attacked when videos like this happen. These are authors that it's a couple of them that are kind of interesting special cases. So it's only 5 that I'm going to be talking about today. This doesn't mean, I could particularly say for 2 of the authors, this doesn't mean that I'll never read them again. I just have found that lately I have not been enjoying them as much as I did when I first started reading their bibliography. 2 of them I will never read again, and that's for issues that I have found in their content, not necessarily just their personal lives, but just I don't agree with writing style, decisions, whatever, and so I'm pretty much done. And one person, I think it is a personality thing. Of course, none of these humans know that I exist on this planet, but I think that I went from enjoying them, and then after more interactions, I'm kind of like, not so much. And so I've kind of also at the same time been distancing myself from their work as a result of that. If these people are your favorite authors, do not take it personally. This is not about you. I promise you, this is not an attack on you. If you enjoy them, if you want to continue to read them, y'all know I'm a big fan of, you're going to read what you're going to read. Y'all are grown. I cannot tell you what to read and what not to read, and I don't ever tell people what to read and what not to read. This is simply about me discussing some authors that I have loved in the past, and I've grown away from them, or I feel like I'm growing away from them. And I think it's a good point to understand that we can go from loving an author and appreciating their work to growing distance. And that's with any relationship that you have. Of course, we don't really have relationships with these authors. At least most of us don't, because we're just connecting through them through their work. So it's just, it's like falling out of this infatuation or love with their work. Or it could be just some life decisions that they've made, and it could be conflicting with your morals, values, ethics, or whatever. And so you find yourself kind of distancing yourself, and that's perfectly fine. I think it happens. It happens in other areas of life, so I would not be surprised that we as readers kind of grow away from certain authors or their bodies of work. So just so this video is not too long, although I think my videos lately have not actually been that long. I think it's because I have been just doing more of these quicker segments, which is fine. My vlogs on the other hand have been longer, which is understandable, but my sit down videos have been shorter, which I am appreciating. So this is not going to be too long. 5 authors. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I've kind of not enjoyed and whether I'm going to continue to read this author or not. So probably the most complicated person on this list is going to be Nick Stone. I was a huge fan of Nick Stone from the time that Dear Martin was released. I read it not too long after release. I believe I have my copy is signed, and I have interacted with her on several occasions. This is one of those instances where I have personally felt myself growing away from her as an author. And she does not know me. We have met, but you meet thousands of people all the time when you are on that level of, being a writer, or you're in kind of a different side of things. You meet people, but it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to remember who you meet. There's just been some things, and I'm not going to go into detail here because I feel like a lot of people know, and I know that people that I know personally I've talked to about just a couple of things where I feel like personality-wise we just don't agree on some things. And so I have found that our viewpoints on specific things, which you would never be able to guess, which is the ironic part of it, but just, during panels and stuff like that, I've been able to just hear some things that I just don't fundamentally agree with. There's been some things that have been said on social media that I don't fundamentally agree with, and I think that that's perfectly fine. And so I have gone from enjoying a lot of her stuff to kind of almost distancing myself. I had the opportunity to read her book Chaos Theory this year before it was released, and possibly do some interviewing stuff, and I kind of turned it down because I just don't feel like it would be authentic, which is interesting because we met just, was it last year or the year before last? To be honest with you, I think it was the year before. I can't remember at this point. I'm not sure. But the last Y'all Fest I went to was not the best experience, and so there's that. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's interesting because I own such a huge portion of her collection, and so I'm not gonna say that I won't read what's on her backlist that I own, because at this point I own the material, but I want to be very also aware of, if I do, because I own some of her middle grade stuff too, that if I do pick it up, I'm gonna have to separate art from artists, and for me that's a little bit more difficult for me personally. I know some people can do it, but for me it's a little bit more difficult, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, and I want to be able to provide a fair and unbiased review and not let my personal feelings or thoughts get in the way too much. And right now I know that I'm not in that place, so I just know I'm not really interested in any of the new things that she's producing at the moment. But I do own a lot of her backlist stuff, and I haven't gone through and unhauled anything, so I still own it. So it's not to say that I won't ever read it, but I'm not pushing myself, and probably after a certain point, if I make the decision that I just can't get to that place, I may just have to unhaul. But that one was probably pretty vague, and that's just because I just don't want this video to center on this one individual, and I literally could spend an entire video talking about some things that I have just kind of felt in the past couple years, but it's not important. The next person that I have on this list is Tomi Adiemi, and this definitely is not personal, but it's a writing conflict. I know that Tomi has done some things that people are not happy with in terms of choosing not to use her voice when it was appropriate for her to use her voice in terms of activism. I am not a fan of Tomi's writing. I'm very confused on how the writing of her books has gone, because Children of Blood and Bone felt very different from Children of Virtue and Vengeance, as if it was two different authors. And I wanted to give her another opportunity, just in case Children of Virtue and Vengeance was just like, you know, middle book syndrome. It just was not up to the standard in which we would expect for a sequel, which a lot of series do suffer from that. The second book usually suffers from middle book syndrome, and it's always hard following up the hype of that first book. But no, I read the Amazon short story that she did as well, and the writing was not good. And so I am just convinced at this point that her writing style and her choices for writing are not for me. And I just won't. This is an author I will never read again. I just have no interest. I know that the third book in the Children of Blood and Bone series is supposed to come out this year. I don't care. I'm not going to read it. I have no interest in it. I don't care. When y'all start dragging it on the internet, I will, I'll be watching people's reviews. But so for me to go in, like, I love Children of Blood and Bone when it first came out. I love Children of Blood and Bone so much to the point that I, made sure I had Children of Virtue and Vengeance ordered, because I wanted to make sure that I was supporting her as an author, and I was disgustingly disappointed. I did a whole reading vlog. This was years ago now. This was back during lockdown. This is when all this happened. So this was 3 years ago at this point, like literally. It's a little over 3 years at this point that I did the Children of Blood and Bone, Children of Virtue and Vengeance reading vlog. You can check both of those out. That reading vlog, my reviews, does have spoilers and the card symbol above if you want to get more, but Tomi is just not for me as an author. And so to go from loving to just be like, I just don't really enjoy you anymore, it's just kind of it's a crappy situation, but it is what it is. The third person that I have here is Cara McManus, which, this is so frustrating because I have literally read everything that Cara McManus has written. She is a thriller, mystery, young adult author. And for me, I've always struggled with trying to find a really good thriller mystery young adult, although there's more coming out now and there's more to explore. But I was looking for, you know, somebody that was just gonna hit the nail on the head every single time. And so Cara McManus was that person for me for a while, but as I have read her books, my ratings have progressively gotten lower. And so I'm finding that I'm not enjoying her work as much. And ironically, I literally this month went back and reread her first two books, One of Us is Lying and whatever the follow-up is to that book. I reread both of those this year, and I lowered my rating on both of them, I believe. I don't think I maintained my rating on either one of them, and I had rated them pretty highly. Granted, I think the second one in that series has a very, very interesting plot twist that holds out until the very, very end, which I was not anticipating. But I think reading it the second time around, because I knew how the book was going to end and I could see kind of where everything was pretty much going, it didn't hit the same way that it hit, which it kind of is the thing with thrillers and mysteries, is that it's, you can reread it and see how everything comes together and where the author was kind of throwing hints and stuff like that. But, you know, those twists never hit the same way because you already know the ending of the book. Now, she is not one that I will never read again, because I actually reread books 1 and 2 in the One of Us is Lying trilogy, because a third book does come out this November, and I am interested in picking it up because at this point, like, I have literally read everything that she's written, and I just, you know, just keeping that same energy, like, it's just, why not at this point? But I have found that I fell in love with her work when I first started, but now I'm just like, it's been like a steady 3-star experience for me. I haven't had anything from her and everything that she's produced lately that's blown me away, that's been like top of my mind, like I can't stop thinking about it. It hasn't been that way since I first started reading her, and so I don't enjoy her as much as I did before. This fourth person is no surprise to anyone. It should not be a surprise, because at this point I have talked about this person a lot. Every time I talk about authors, like, I don't care for 1-star book reviews. When I've done standalone reviews, like, this has been a person who has consistently come up, and that is Sister Soulja. And the reason why is because of Life After Death. I read The Coldest Winter Ever a couple of times at this point, and it is very pivotal in the genre of street lit. It's very, I think, I would say it's very influential in the world of street lit as it applies to the Black community. She did some things with The Coldest Winter Ever that are, you know, we still see the effects of it today. However, and I say however, semicolon, however, comma, I had been waiting for, like everyone else, a sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever forever. Forever, ever, and ever, ever, and ever. If you know what that reference is, comment it down below and you get all the cool points in the world, because everyone should know what that is a reference to. Just give me the name of the group and we'll be good. But I had been waiting for a sequel like everyone else, because we got a book about her sister Portia, Winter's sister Portia, and we had gotten the 3 Midnight books. And for some reason I just kept holding out, because I felt like Winter's story just was never, we never really got a conclusion to what happened to her after her life pretty much fell into shambles. So then we get the announcement that Life After Death is coming. Simon & Schuster is pushing it, which at this point I believe that Simon & Schuster just picks up anything that they know is going to give them money, regardless of whether it's a good book or not. I've seen that with them a couple of times at this point. It's just a couple of times I'm like, this book was horrible, but I guess, you know, you knew it was going to bring you money, and so why not? It doesn't matter how controversial or how nasty or negative or offensive and degrading the book is, which Life After Death, I'll leave the review in the card symbol above. One of the most degrading and disgusting reading experiences I have ever had in my life as a Black woman. And I don't even have the spoons to delve into how disgusting and degrading and nasty that book was. But if you're interested in hearing the details, you can definitely check out my review in the card symbol above. And, you know, just yeah, just watch it and you'll understand why I will never read her again. I have no interest in supporting or reading anything that comes from her noggin at this point ever again. It's a done deal. Like I'm done. We're done. We're through. Like, breakup finale, no second chances, no dipping back one more time, just, you know, see what it's like, just to get our one last ride in. No, no, honey, we're done. Cut off. And the last person on this list should be no surprise to anyone as well, which is ironic because their latest book just came into my Libby. And so they're another one that I'm on the fence about because literally my reading experience with them has been 50-50. And so I'm not sure where to go at this point in my life with them. And so I'm going to keep trying. And I think when I get to the side where it's more negative than positive, then I think I'm just going to be done. So that human is Riley Sager. Riley Sager seems to be, I don't want to say like he's divisive, but some of his books are divisive. It's like either you like it or you don't type of situation with some of his releases. They just don't make sense sometimes. And it sucks because I started off really enjoying Riley Sager. I read Lock Every Door was one that I read. And then, of course, while I'm on camera, I can't remember any of his books. It's the one about the house that's green and Home Before Dark. See, I knew if I did enough plays with his library and stuff, I knew that if I did enough word play with it, I would eventually figure it out. But yeah, no, y'all, I love those two. And then I read The House Across the Lake and Survive the Night and disliked both of those. So I've read 4 Riley Sager books and I'm 50-50. And so and I literally read Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door back to back and I enjoyed them both. And then I was like, oh yeah, like I'm hooked. Then I read Survive the Night and I was like, this ain't, this ain't for me, is it? Like, this is, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just one bad situation. And then I read The House Across the Lake and I was like, oh no. I don't know if this is, I don't know if I'm for you and if you're for me. And so I've been struggling with what to do from going to such like a high level of enjoyment to essentially being like, yeah, I don't, But I do have the latest one, The Only One Left. My hold just came in. So we're gonna see. So this is clearly another author that I'm kind of like, not gonna say I'm never gonna read anything, but I think with Riley Sager, it's gonna come down to, okay, yeah, we're 50-50. If I keep reading things that are leaning more to the negative side, I think I'm just gonna have to be like, yeah, we're done. That's it. We're finished here. So there's that. But yeah, y'all, those are 5 authors that I used to enjoy that now I don't enjoy as much as I did before. And I'm very curious to see if anybody's had this experience before where they go in like you absolutely love an author, then all of a sudden you're like, maybe this was like not love, maybe this was infatuation and I confuse it with love and now I need to get out of this relationship. So those are 5 authors that I could think of off the top of my head. I don't think I've had as many like strikingly like downfalls of relationships with any other authors outside of these 5. These 5 like just stood out to me when I was sitting down. I was thinking about it. I was like, how many authors have like my relationship has changed with their writing and their books and who they may be as people. And these 5 were just, it was like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, I don't think I've had like as much of an intense reaction as I had with these 5. But yeah, let me know what authors you've had feelings change about in the comments down below. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. And if you're interested in following me on social media or supporting this channel via Patreon and Amazon, all the links will be down in the description box below. And I will be back with another video soon. Bye.